Hello, so we're going to have a look at minimum price in more detail now. Specifically, we're going to look at real life examples of minimum prices, and we're going to fully explain how a minimum price works, and in particular, what market failure it is used to correct. But first of all, let's start with some real life examples of a minimum price. So, for example, we've got some really good examples quite close to home in the UK. We have Scotland and Wales, which have introduced minimum prices. In particular, in May 2018, Scotland introduced a minimum price, and that minimum price was on alcohol. Okay, so a minimum price, and the amount, it was 50p per unit of alcohol. Okay, so as I said, just to reiterate, we've got two real life examples quite close to home in the UK. We've got Scotland in May 2018 introduced a minimum price of 50p per unit of alcohol. More recently in 2020, Wales have also introduced a minimum price of 50p per unit of alcohol. So the market failure that this is used to correct is the market failure associated with demerit goods, alcohol obviously being an example of a demerit good. So let's just make a note that when we're using a minimum price is used to correct market failure associated with demerit goods. And obviously the issue with regards to demerit goods is that they are overconsumed. And obviously the overconsumption results in negative externalities in consumption. The overconsumption element comes from the idea that they are too cheap, the price is too low, and as a result, the quantity therefore consumed is too great. So hopefully by introducing a minimum price, this can help to correct the market failure associated with demerit goods such as alcohol, and try and reduce or eliminate the negative externalities in consumption. So let's make sure we understand how we can explain our diagram effectively to link back to correcting the market failure associated with demerit goods. So first thing to remember is that the minimum price is set above the market equilibrium. And this is key. If the minimum price is not set above the market equilibrium, then the minimum price will be ineffective. And I will repeat, if the minimum price is not set above the market equilibrium, then the minimum price will be ineffective. So the minimum price is set above the market equilibrium, and the reason for that is that it causes an increase in the price from P to P min. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that consumers now are less willing and able to buy at that given time and price, due to the increase, obviously, from price, from increased P to P min. And what we see there is we see a contraction along the demand curve. There's a contraction along the demand curve because consumers are less willing and able to buy at that given time and price, with the increase in price from P to P min along the demand curve. So what we therefore see is we see a reduction in the quantity demanded from Q to Q1. So we see a reduction in quantity from Q to Q1, and specifically that's a reduction in quantity demanded from Q to Q1. So therefore we can see that by introducing a minimum price, it should hopefully therefore correct the market failure associated with demerit goods, in particular obviously the overconsumption of them, because what we should see now is we should see that a reduction in quantity occurs, in particular reduction in quantity demanded, due to that higher price and the contraction along the demand curve. But let's also understand what's going on here with regards to the quantity Q2 on our diagram. So with the increased price, producers are more willing and able to sell at that given time and price, and that's due to the increase in price from P to P min. And the reason for that is due to the profit motive. Obviously, if they produce more of the good now, with the higher price, they will be able to generate a higher profit. And that's due to the profit motive. So as a result, what we see on our diagram is we see an extension along the supply curve. And therefore, as a result, we see an increase in quantity from Q to Q2. And in particular, that's an increase in the quantity supplied. Okay, so what we see with the minimum price is the minimum price causes a contraction along the demand curve due to the increased price, meaning consumers are less willing and able to buy the certain good at that particular price, reducing the quantity demanded from Q to Q1. However, that higher price results in an increase in quantity supplied because producers are more willing and able to sell at that higher price of P min due to the profit motive, and as a result, we see an increase in the quantity supplied from Q to Q2. As a result, what this generates, this supply being greater than demand, this results in excess supply. So difference between Q2 and Q1 is excess supply, which we've labelled on our diagram there. The key thing now is we just need to link it back to how it corrects the market failure associated with demerit goods, in particular the overconsumption of them, and obviously the negative externalities in consumption there. So the increased price from P to P min and the reduced quantity demanded from Q to Q1 should correct the market failure of overconsumption. So what we've had a look at there is we've had a look at some real life examples of minimum prices, so in particular the minimum price on alcohol in Scotland, and we've clearly explained, linked to our diagram, how the minimum price would correct the market failure associated with demerit goods. In particular, the increase in the price and the reduction in quantity demanded should help correct the market failure of overconsumption. Thank you.